What's up, you moneymakers and MULN investors? Welcome back to the channel. MULN was down 7% as you see. In this particular video, I'll be talking about what is going on with the stock. We'll be talking about MULN that reported the sale of EV cargo vans for the automatic group that they have the tie-up with. We'll be talking about MULN has cash. Series D investor exercised their final options, and this is 4 days ago. So this is latest and greatest information. In addition to that, they have also filed 8K current report. I'll go through that because there are some of the points that I wanted to share with you that are looking slightly interesting and slightly alarming as well. So we'll be look into it. There might be some correction 8K coming up based on what I can read, and we'll be talking more about what MULN is doing in terms of the price point, their volume we'll be talking about because there is some significant changes that are happening. We'll be talking about what the financial analysts talk about, especially on investor plays. MULN has too little cash to survive probably, and lastly we'll look into what the short sellers are doing with MULN. Before I go ahead, I just wanted to ask you, I spent a lot of time, energy and effort. Here I am, I'm sharing this information because many of you reached out and wanted to quickly do the analysis, share the information with you. All I ask you in return is to hit the like button. If I have only, I'll do more videos. If I have enough likes, if you have 50 to 100 likes, that gives me a signal to build more and more MULN videos. So do your own due diligence, research on your own, make this channel part of your due diligence and analysis as well. But do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more MULN videos and many other videos. We have been talking a ton of interesting information you can check out on my channel. Before I go ahead, I just wanted to tell you that. So do that and let's jump right into it. For 1 day, MULN is down 7.16% for 5 days, 1 week, 34.21% for 1 month. MULN is down 85%, and year to date, it is down 98.66, almost 99%. Now, this is definitely not the NASDAQ trend. Take a look. 1 day, NASDAQ was up 1.45%. 5 days, we're up 1.64%. For 1 month, we're up 4.13%. Year to date, we're up 32%, 33%. 32.74. So that definitely MULN is not down because of the way the market works or the downturn into the market. On the contrary, market is going relatively really into the positive direction. 33%. So NASDAQ is up 1/3, which is massive in my personal opinion. Now, what's going on with MULN? MULN reported the sale of EV cargo vans to automotive group. MULN came up. This is the latest data on June 29th. They have a financial news, content creation and publishing company, basically this new media wire, which is where they have all this information or the PR. Take a look what MULN is saying. They have sold 22 EV cargo vans, Randy Marion Automotive Group. You already know I've covered multiple times this particular tie-up on my channel, and this company is authorized distributor of commercial EV in the United States. They are really reputed company. The sale marks the company's first revenue, which will be reported in the next quarterly report ending June 30th, 2023. Revenue from the sales will total $308,000. So this is not a massive number. This is not personally me, and I'm not a financial advisor. This video is not for any sort of financial advice or anything. My personal opinion. So do your own due diligence. But this is not an impressive number to me personally. The company is reporting that the vans will start shipping today from MULN's Mississippi-based assembly plant to Randy Marion Automotive Group in North Carolina. So remember this, that company is saying that the assembly plant from their facility and it'll go to Randy Marion, because this information will be handful when we talk a little bit more what I want to talk about in Form 8K. So the announcement also noted that MULN is currently in process with 6 campus EV pilot program across 4 different industry categories, including aviation, pharmaceutical, public utility, and universities. And we have seen each of this and how MULN is booking revenue, selling their vehicles, so on and so forth. In the meantime, MULN will need to make sure, because now they don't really have revenue, they are spending money pretty heavily. Take a look right here. Last quarter, Q1 2023, net income negative 114.9 million. December Q4, 376 million negative net cash income. September, negative $611 million, dollars, which is more than $500 million, $0.6 billion. So companies spending left and right, and that is really needed for this space because it is pretty naive space. As you know, it's complex, and this is relatively growing space. And you know what Tesla has been doing. They ran through really rough time. This is Mullen that is trying to solve some of the very innovative problems on hand, and they're trying to come up with a groundbreaking technology. Now, Mullen Series D investors have exercised their final options, resulting in funding inflow of $100 million. Mullen now has over $235 million in cash and cash equivalent, and this is just based on the PR. This PR just came 4 days ago, which should provide 2 years of operational capital. I'm not going to speak too much about how much or whether they can sustain for 2 years or not, because in order for Mullen to run for next 2 years, they definitely need more cash, especially with the way that they're spending. If they have $235 million in cash, and if they start spending, as you know, the negative cash income, at least for the last quarter, $114 million, with that run rate, they cannot run more than a couple of quarters. And this is, again, my personal opinion, and take it with a grain of salt, but Mullen stock is down, as you know, already. 95%. But what I wanted to say, once again, going back here, is 2 years of operating capital. I'm not sure if that's the case. And up to 2.33 billion share resale of Mullen stock overshadowing this news. Now, Mullen hit 52-week low of 13.5 cents after the company announced its Series D investors had exercised their final options, which expires on June 30th for $100 million. As a result, the electric EV company has received $100 million in additional funding that brings cash and cash equivalent to $235 million. In addition, all of the Mullen's property and assets are free of claims, which is the exception of $7.3 million outstanding debt. Now, with that, let's take a look right here. Our year range, 10 cents is the lowest, $35 is the highest. If you take a look at 1 year data, you should be able to see right here that says it had about $30.50. From that, we dropped down to 10 cents. You know that there is a reverse stock split. We saw 1 to 25, 1 for 25, so on and so forth, and some of the concerns around that. In the meantime, Mullen shared this 8K current report on June 30th, which was on Friday. Now, I want to really quickly point out a couple of things. Again, I wanted to point out that this report was on June 30th, 2023, right here, and this is a pretty latest report. Now, with that, one of the things that I wanted to mention in the forward-looking statement that sounds slightly alarming to me personally. Well, I'm like you, a Josh Mo on the street. So again, you don't want to trust a YouTuber, do your own due diligence. But one thing that really you want to look out for is they have mentioned that we have limited operating history. It makes it difficult for us to evaluate the future business prospects. We have not yet. This is very important that I want to point out. And this is directly from the SEC.gov. We have not yet manufactured or sold any production vehicles to customers and may never develop or manufacture any vehicles. Now, this particular statement might be an error, so we'll look forward if they have any corrected 10K form or 8K form, that they file anytime soon next week, because this does not seem accurate, at least to me, that we have not manufactured or sold any production vehicle to the customer and may never develop or manufacture any vehicle. This might be just an error or a typo, or they might have copied and pasted from somewhere else. Now, we have not yet paid or do not plan or pay cash dividend or any offer common stock. So any return in investment may be limited to value for our common stock. Now, they are also mentioning that our shareholders are subject to significant dilution upon the occurrence of the certain events, which could result in this decrease in our stock price. However, you can go right here on SEC.gov, you can search for Mullen Automative Inc, and you can find this information out on your own. But if you own Mullen shares, you really want to keep an eye out as to what's going on. While we talk about all this, what is going on with Mullen stock price? We are at 1077, 1073. We went to 10 cents, we went to $35, which is kind of a really big gap to bridge. But take a look, average volume 85 million. or volume on Friday, 278 million. Now, volume has been going up and down. So volume was pretty low when we started June. Take a look, 16 million, 31 million, 48 million, 78 million, right? And we were at 75 to 76 cents. Before that, we were close to a dollar in late May, early June. And there was some hope that we'll go back up and about $1 price point, but it just did not happen. So we are again at a risk of NASDAQ compliance. Now, if we don't really go up and about $1 mark, which is what NASDAQ requires to stay in compliance for any given stock ticker price, there might be some another delusion. There could be another option that if they don't do reverse stock split, they will have to come up with a plan as to how they can go above $1, which they might not be able to go, which means they might get delisted from NASDAQ. Right now, we are looking at the volume fluctuates pretty massively from 400 million to 280 million, and then we go to 450 million right here, 291 million, 172 million. So we are all across the place on a chart. Now, what is going on and what the analysts are saying? Let's take a look right here. Mullen stock has too little cash to survive, probably. And I tend to agree with this. Given the space that the Mullen is in terms of the EV space, they have too little cash and they will need to work on what they can do to bring more cash. Mullen is making promises it'll struggle to keep based on this article. And this is not me. This is the investor place market analyst. Now, this is relatively new as well, June 22nd, 2023. But I wanted to point out a quick couple of things. That stock tumbled pretty massively, as you already know. There is some stuff going on with Lawrence Hodge in terms of their live stream and the $10 billion deal. At first glance, Mullen cause and effect chain seems straightforward. The founder and chief technology officer, Global EV Technology, previously touted that a potential $10 billion deal with Saudi Arabia. We did not really hear much about it, and it did seem like there is a disconnect. And I don't know what exactly the situation is, but it did not come into fruition. If angry customer caused Mr. Hodge to withdraw from Mullen, surely the EV firm would be worse off. However, a closer examination of Mullen's financials shows that sagging share price is entirely balance sheet related. The company has long relied on this particular financial situation that they already have, and they recently announced that new financing would end a significant source of liquidity. Financing growing an EV company is hard. Mullen is the management could soon find out what they can do without external financing, which is next to impossible. So there are some concerns, and we already know that Mullen needs more cash. However, the short sellers are not stopping. Take a look right here. Short sellers, FINRA volume, 149 million was the total FINRA volume. Short volume, 83.3 million, which puts them at almost 56%. FINRA short volume ratio. Before that, Thursday on June 29th, 53.73%, 55.32%. So which means the short sellers are winning pretty big time. They're making money, they're printing money. And what's going on is, if they do the right way, I think that they sold the stock at 90 cents. Right now it's 10 cents. They sold at again 50 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, 24 cents, something like that. So basically, what they're doing is they're selling high, they're selling short, and then they're buying at a lower price, and the stock keeps going down and down. So it's in a spiral mode right now, in a vicious cycle where it cannot really come out of the zone. Now, in order for them to get out of this zone, all they need to do, or it's not all they need to do, what they need to do is $308,000, which is nothing. It's just a drop into a bucket, and which is not going to fill the bucket. They need to really make this millions and millions of dollars in sell. Right now, yes, they have $235 million, but they need to build more and more sales pipeline, which means they'll be selling more, they'll be cycle, and then they can get profit. They become profitable. Little by little, their profitability or negative net cash income will start decreasing, as you see. So in September, 600. Here, it's 376 million. In March, 114 million. What they need to do is they want to get very close to or below negative $50 million. That is the only way that they can survive with $235 million that they have cash and cash equivalent on hand for next couple of years. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty challenging. Here I am sharing all this information. If you have any specific questions, write down in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and let me know what other stocks you want me to cover in the comment section below.